The cafe smelled like fresh bread and burnt coffee. It was 9 a.m., the busiest hour. Clinking cups, hurried footsteps, the low hum of chatter. And right in the middle of all that noise, he walked in. A man in a dark tailored suit, silver watch glinting in the morning light. His presence turned heads. The kind of confidence that fills a room before he even says a word. His name? Robert Hale, a billionaire investor who owned half the buildings downtown. Sophia, the young waitress on duty, adjusted her apron and took a breath. "Table 9 again," she whispered to Emma, the hostess. Emma rolled her eyes. "Yep. The one who never tips." Sophia forced a polite smile. "Lucky me." She walked over with her notepad, trying to sound calm. "Good morning, sir. What can I get you today?" Robert didn't even look up. "Same as always," he muttered, scrolling through his phone. A pause. Then, without lifting his eyes, "And make sure the coffee isn't burnt this time." Sophia froze. Her jaw tightened, but she kept her voice steady. "Of course, sir." As she turned away, Emma whispered from the counter, "I swear that man enjoys making people feel small." Sophia shrugged. "Doesn't matter. We serve, we smile." But deep down, something about him bothered her. His voice, his eyes. There was something strangely familiar. Later, when she brought his order, she noticed he wasn't scrolling anymore. He was staring at an old photograph in his wallet. A faded picture of a young woman holding a baby. She glanced at it for half a second. And for some reason, her heart skipped. "Anything else, sir?" she asked softly. He snapped the wallet shut. "No. That'll be all." She nodded and walked away. But her hands were trembling slightly. Why did that photo feel so close? Behind the counter, she tried to shake the feeling. "It's nothing," she whispered. "Just another rude customer." But later that day, as Robert left, he stopped at the door, turned back for a second, and looked straight at her. A long, unreadable look. Almost like he wanted to say something. Almost like he knew her. And then, he was gone. Sophia stood frozen, her heart racing. "Why did he look at me like that?" she whispered. Little did she know, that moment was the beginning of a truth that would shatter her world. Have you ever met someone who felt oddly familiar, like your soul recognized them before your mind did? The next morning, rain fell softly against the cafe windows. Sophia wiped the tables, lost in thought. She kept seeing that photograph, the woman's gentle smile, the baby in her arms. Why did it feel like she'd seen it before? Emma waved a hand in front of her face. "Earth to Sophia? You've been scrubbing that same table for 5 minutes." Sophia blinked. "Sorry, I didn't sleep much." Emma leaned in. "Don't tell me it's about him again, Mr. Table 9? Sophia hesitated. He looked different yesterday. Sad, almost. And he had this picture in his wallet. A woman and a baby. Emma grinned. "What, you think he's secretly nice?" Sophia gave a small smile. "No. But something about that photo, it just—" She trailed off, shaking her head. "Never mind." The cafe door chimed. Sophia looked up, and froze. Robert Hale was back. But this time, he wasn't alone. A man in a gray suit followed behind him, his assistant, maybe, carrying a folder full of papers. Sophia's heart raced as she grabbed her notepad and approached. "Good morning, sir." Robert looked up, eyes tired. "Black coffee. 2 sugars." "Yes, sir." She turned to leave when she heard him mutter to his assistant, "The adoption files. I want them finalized today." She stopped mid-step. Her breath caught. "Adoption files?" The assistant nodded. "Understood, Mr. Hale. We'll have the agency confirm by noon." Sophia's hands trembled. She didn't know why, but those 2 words hit her like a punch to the chest. When she returned with the coffee, Robert looked up, really looked at her this time. His gaze lingered, almost searching. "How long have you worked here?" he asked suddenly. Sophia blinked. 2 years, sir. He nodded slowly. You from around this city? Yes. Born and raised here. For a moment, neither spoke. The sound of the rain filled the silence. Then he said softly, You remind me of someone. Sophia forced a polite smile. People say that sometimes. But her heart was pounding. Why did his words feel so heavy? As he left, he placed a crisp $100 bill on the table, the first tip he had ever given. Emma's eyes went wide. Is this for real? Did the man finally grow a conscience? Sophia didn't answer. She just stared at the door he'd walked through. And that night, she couldn't sleep. She sat on her bed, scrolling through an old box of things she'd kept from the orphanage. Faded papers, a hospital bracelet, a note that simply read, I'm sorry. You deserve better. E. Sophia ran her fingers over the note, whispering, Who were you, E? Outside, thunder rolled in the distance. And somewhere across the city, Robert Hale sat alone in his penthouse, holding that same photo. His hand trembled as he whispered to himself, Evelyn, what have you done? If you discovered a clue that might lead to your real parents, would you chase the truth, even if it could destroy the life you have now? The next few days passed in silence. Robert didn't return to the cafe. But his face, his voice, his eyes, they lingered in Sophia's mind like a song she couldn't forget. Every time the door chimed, her heart jumped, only to sink again. Until one evening, just as she was about to clock out, the bell above the door rang softly. It wasn't Robert. It was a woman. Elegant. Mid-50s. Dressed in a cream coat, with soft eyes that carried years of stories. Sophia greeted her politely. Good evening, ma'am. Table for one. The woman smiled. Yes, thank you, dear. As Sophia led her to a seat, the woman spoke gently. You're Sophia, right? Sophia blinked. Yes. Have we met? The woman hesitated, her voice trembling. No. But I've heard about you. Sophia frowned. From who? The woman smiled sadly. An old friend. Robert Hale. Sophia froze mid-step. The sound of the name sent a rush of confusion through her. He mentioned me? The woman nodded. He said there's something about you. Something that reminds him of someone he lost a long time ago. Sophia felt her stomach twist. Lost? You mean? The woman looked down at her tea, whispering. Her name was Evelyn. The name echoed inside Sophia's mind. Evelyn. She'd never heard it before. And yet, it felt like she had. She asked quietly, Who was she? The woman looked up, eyes glistening. She was the love of his life. And the woman who made the hardest choice a mother could ever make. Sophia's hands shook. What do you mean? But before the woman could answer, her phone buzzed. She checked it and sighed. I have to go. But Sophia, sometimes the truth doesn't come looking for us. Sometimes, we have to be brave enough to look for it ourselves. She stood, placing a folded napkin on the table. If you ever want to understand, come here. And then she left. Sophia unfolded the napkin. Inside was a business card. Evelyn Hale, Director, Hale Foundation for Child Welfare. Sophia's breath caught. The same initial, E. The same surname, Hale. Her mind spun. Was it a coincidence? Or had her whole life been circling around a truth she wasn't meant to find? That night, Sophia sat by her window, staring at the card under the pale city light. The rain was falling again, steady, cold, rhythmic. She whispered to herself, Evelyn Hale. She opened her old note from the orphanage again. The handwriting, it matched the signature on the card. Her throat tightened. Could it be? Could Evelyn Hale be her birth mother? Meanwhile, across town, Robert sat in his penthouse, glass of whiskey untouched. Evelyn stood by the window, her reflection pale against the city lights. She saw the card, didn't she? Robert asked quietly. Evelyn nodded. She deserves to know. Robert's voice cracked. And when she finds out who you are, who I am. Evelyn turned, tears glistening in her eyes. Then she'll finally understand why I left her. A heavy silence filled the room. Rain against the glass. Unspoken guilt in the air. And far away, in her tiny apartment, Sophia whispered the words that would change everything. I'm going to find her. Would you forgive someone who abandoned you, if you found out they did it out of love? The next morning, Sophia stood outside a tall glass building downtown, the Hale Foundation for Child Welfare. Her reflection trembled in the mirrored doors. She almost turned away. But something deep inside whispered, "Go in." The receptionist smiled politely. "Do you have an appointment?" Sophia swallowed hard. "No, but please tell Evelyn Hale that Sophia wants to see her." The woman hesitated, picked up the phone, murmured a few words, and then nodded. "You can go up. Top floor." Sophia's legs felt heavy as she rode the elevator. Her palms were damp. The doors opened to a quiet office filled with light, family photos on the walls, soft piano music playing faintly. And there she was. Evelyn Hale. Older now. Graceful. Eyes that carried both strength and sorrow. She stood slowly when Sophia entered. "Sophia," she said softly, as if tasting the name. "You came." Sophia nodded, her voice barely a whisper. "You're her, aren't you? You're the woman from the photo." Evelyn's eyes filled with tears. "Yes. And you're the little girl I held for the last time 23 years ago." The words hit Sophia like a wave. Her heart clenched. Her vision blurred. "Why?" she whispered. "Why did you leave me?" Evelyn took a trembling breath. "Because I had no choice. I was 17. Scared. Alone. Robert and I thought giving you up would give you a better life." Sophia shook her head, tears spilling. "Better? I grew up wondering if I was ever wanted. If I ever mattered." Evelyn stepped closer, her voice breaking. "You mattered more than anything. Not a day went by that I didn't think of you." Sophia looked away. "And Robert? What is he to me?" Evelyn hesitated. "He's your father." Silence. The room seemed to shrink. Sophia's knees went weak. My father?" Evelyn nodded, tears streaming freely now. "He never stopped looking for you. But the adoption records were sealed. He found you only months ago." Sophia covered her mouth, shaking. "And you both just walked into my life pretending to be strangers?" Evelyn whispered. "We didn't want to hurt you until we were sure." Sophia's voice cracked. "You already did." She turned, walking toward the door. Evelyn reached out. "Please, Sophia." But Sophia pulled away. Her voice trembled with pain and anger. "You gave me away once. Don't ask me to understand it now." The door closed softly behind her, leaving Evelyn standing there, alone, trembling, staring at the space her daughter had just left. If you found the person who abandoned you, would you stay and listen, or walk away like Sophia did? Days passed. Sophia didn't return to work. She turned off her phone, ignored messages, avoided everyone. But the silence, it hurt worse than the truth. One rainy night, a letter slipped under her apartment door. Her name written in delicate handwriting. No return address, only the initial E. She hesitated before opening it. Inside was a short note. And a photograph. The note read, "My dearest Sophia, I know words can't erase the years I wasn't there. But I hope you'll let me share the truth, not as an excuse, but as a mother who has lived with the weight of one decision every single day." Sophia's eyes filled with tears as she unfolded the photograph. Evelyn, younger, holding a baby wrapped in a white blanket. Her smile soft but broken. The letter continued. "When I gave you up, I wasn't giving up on you. I was giving you a chance. I watched you grow from afar, Your school records, your scholarships, your first job. You made it on your own, and that's how I knew I'd made the right choice. You became stronger than I ever was. Sophia pressed the paper to her chest, tears falling freely. Then, at the very bottom, one last line. If you ever want to know me, truly know me, I'll be waiting at table 9. Her heart stopped. Table 9. The cafe. She ran through the rain, the city lights blurring through her tears. And when she burst through the cafe doors, there they were. Evelyn and Robert, sitting side by side. They stood as she entered. Evelyn's voice broke. You came. Sophia looked at both of them, the parents she never knew, the strangers who shared her face, her silence, her eyes. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Sophia whispered, I don't know how to forgive you, but I think I want to try. Evelyn's tears turned into a trembling smile. Robert stepped forward, voice shaking. Then we'll start there. The three of them sat together, the rain whispering softly outside, the same sound that had carried through every moment of their separate lives. But this time, they weren't alone anymore. Do you believe time can heal the pain of abandonment, or are some wounds meant to leave scars that never fade?